Doc sent this. Let me know when everyone gets it.
We just got it.
Sounds good. Let me just pull up. Sorry, I have like wrong tab up there. Okay, just pull up my doc. Should be good. Okay, if everyone's ready, my time will begin now. Several amounts of operation the mutuality of reinforcing project nationalization, racialization of cellular colonial system vendors both in native bodies and land sacrificial opportunity master and destroy the wall, went to the perfect production cause on and combines of rationalization, nature, and naturalization, race, legitimating the violent dispossession of natives and the inflow of the white race and cannot be stopped when the land is created, cultivating sovereignty and transforming the ecosystem into democratic territories, including the racial meaning expiration as a predatory relationship in nature is not has produced carbon emissions, mass extinction, deadly viruses, superstorms, deadly zone, poison lands, and unbreathable exporting non-white population left demolished by the state, China's foreign extraction markets, forming neoliberal into the racialized economies, neoliberalism described the Chinese interest in Africa equal partnership propagated by the CCP, calling for the attention on the ability of African governments to maintain their sovereignty. Chinese use the cooperative African elites and the expense of the African people. China is openly extract the colonial and older powers for the welfare of African population, human rights abuse, neocolonialism, and initial African religious violence and independence right major factor in serving the daughter, in Sudan, the illicit sale of military weapons, blocking the UN resolution directly towards Sudan, genocide, Hamilton, during Yemen, and subsequent nuclear domination, China uses Tibet, constitution internally, exploiting Tibetans to the nuclear weapons, resulting in eradication, attacking Tibetans. Tibet also about these existential ICO finds that a few places are important as Tibet plateau in the world third, biggest ice fields, and outside the Arctic third place, most prominent role in the moon sun system, biodiversity hotspots and distinct species, processing are most important on Earth, extinction, universe, actually 18 has lost one species to extinction interaction means species are important for ecosystem, the impact of one species can affect others, world biodiversity costs, extinction, we can also should understand the settlers and invasive species, and the survivability of natives, and not costs, also two finds survival colonists and invasive species, they offer the opportunity to study invasions and invasive threats to the ecosystem, but the present opportunity to understand the ways community organized can be considered colonization, the first and particular step, the private invasion occurs when we are able to produce enough individuals shed light on the why invasion occurred in the first China invasive act also resulting in deforestation, resulting destroying native life. 25 China's chamber were lost 400,000 area of forest annually contributing to significant carbon emissions. 70% of deforestation was illegal, and China's embedded emissions have reached an average of 200 million tons of CO2 per year. And cycles in speaking quadrillions of anthropods, growing 23% the difference in the density of terrestrial anthropods and forest and deforestation number of terrestrial anthropods 4.04 times 10 to the power 18 changes the number of terrestrial anthropods crucial negligible during 86k crucial terrestrial anthropods completely dominate 9.78k and 1.5k times higher in climate change cause extinctions back 19 by 2050 actually vanished the Amazon planet the feedback clue deadly conditions call for the resource cold made nuclear war delegates and human civilization the call for refusal in place of educational monastery debate for circular economy and can be deployed in the methodology and antagonist orientation and uphold white supremacy. Rule 24. Safeguarding settler is the notion that epistemic economy, epistemic capital produces, so we must have a planner to counterattack, create an advocate strategy, and activists and researchers who are wishing for unraveling the history and inner logic of the settler fluidity and settler clothing and maintain a wider economic epistemic network of the practice and gaslight the population of the ways things are, the way the cultural responsibility, structural harm, knowledge, and settlers of society is always for profit, and questions of the land are essential regarding the resolution that speaks to the specificity of the settler violence. The settler failure 23 finds that the land in question is fundamental redistribution of land go beyond the nature of social economy and establish a regenerative relationship with the land redistribution centers the land reform at the national level through transactional advocacy. Decolonization enables an ontological restoration into being a reclamation of indigenous culture practices and a care for the environment. Robotic 23 finds that within the settler understanding of the land and right are locked in the level of individual ownership, the level of the state jurisdiction, the Anglo-American anthropography, and land of autonomy by law is land is a passive instrument. Human will be worthless until the value is reinserted and making mixed labor because the value is imbued solely through the instrumental activity. Land is only important as a store economic potentialities and disrupting indigenous relations to land representing profound epistemic ontological cosmic balance and decolonization. It consists in creating the establishes of these relationships. Reinsurgent moves rely on land-based practices to allow the indigenous people to rebuild cultural practices, social and political and legal frameworks. Decolonization is about enabling indigenous people to rebuild relationships with species and ecosystems.
Quick flex.
Wait, no, just ask for the PDF. Yeah.
Wait, first, can we get a PDF for Rebold? And then after we get that, we'll take flex.
Sorry, you said Rebold?
Yeah, the last card.
Right? Just making sure. We're about to send it. Reboild 23. That card
I think it's REIBOLT, but yeah.
in the emo chain.
Okay. Should we do flex
Yeah,
now?
let's
Okay.
do flex.
So, how does the app achieve decolonization?
Sorry, you keep breaking up. What was the question? Our Wi-Fi is not
How
good.
how does the app achieve decolonization?
A bunch of reasons. One, it removes China from having bad presence in specific regions, and it stops them from doing stuff like deforestation, killing indigenous tribes, etc. So it's just decreasing presence.
Okay, so the only offense the app garners is from China decreasing presence in these areas. Decreasing
Not the only offense, but that's some, yes.
Okay, sure, that's fine. Second question, how do we win this debate? Is disproving the resolution a bad idea sufficient, or do we need to win both your research and your consequences are bad?
You can give arguments
Yeah.
on like why either side is like enough. Right now, we think that you should try to win as much offense as you can.
Okay, that's fine, that's fine. Okay, cool. That was what, 40? We'll send a doc.
Let me know once you guys get it.
I have it.
Okay, cool.
Right.
Um,
1 second.
Okay, 1 sec.
Can I just get a sheet of paper?
Yeah.
How many is it?
The off case.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if I lost signal or we lost Harker.
What?
Oh, I think we're lagging. Wait,
Yeah.
okay, is that better?
Currently.
Okay.
Okay. That's
Wait, sorry. How many is it?
3.
3.
Okay, thank you.
Pull that up, please.
Wait, so you're good? Okay, cool. First off, interpretation. The app must grant critiques of research or consequences as a negative win condition. Violation. Cross-ex concede the neg must disprove both the app's research and consequences to win. The standard is strats queue. Granting the app a no-cost option to kick parts of their advocacy, even when there's offense against it, moots half of the neg independently. Their model makes backhalf speeches impossible because we must extend offense against both layers while they can choose to sandbag one for double the time. That also turns case. Not taking responsibility for parts of your political project justifies bad advocacy that endorse problematic practices, which links to all their framework arguments and outweighs on scope. Drop them because Winston losses shape debate and they'll change in the future. Next off. Interpretation. The negative need not rejoin extra topical affirmative to clarify they can read their one to see, but we should get the ballot. Violation. The affirmative defense decolonization. Otherwise, the decides and links kill the case. Shifting the stasis of controversy skews prep deletes core ground and expose limits. 2 impacts. 1. Fairness. This intrinsically will be both teams want to win. That's why they frame the debate through technical concessions, selectively highlight and spread evidence, etc. Outweighs. A is the paradox. Fairness comes jurisdictionally prior as a meta constraint. Justifying unfair evaluation is paradoxical because you can unfairly choose to not evaluate that justification. Choosing to fairly evaluate it sees the authority of fairness since it proves that every other impact relies on it to even be considered in the process. B. Solvency. The solves our impact reverse causally by refusing to punish us for being unprepared and unpredictable debates, but it's impossible to verify what happens after your decision, so you can't vote on speculation. 2 is clash. This is a prerequisite to testing was the key to exportable skills. That turns and outweighs app impacts since only we can solve them in the real world. But failure to iterate creates false positives to negate on presumption means they've only won insofar as we were unable to engage the one to see. No impact turns. If they get accused of being violent, we should end the round and discuss not continuing debate. 1 turn debate competitive nature intensifies doubling down on T and gaslighting them through defense, which turns every impact if T was bad in the one and C's waivers extended to 2 and C 1 and R and 2 and R telling us to not extend T would make any accusation of recent one now to win, which is trivial and unfair. Second is false positive, limited speech time, technical concessions ensure either races get off scot-free for debating matter or novices or misconstrued races due to the lack of skill. Next off. China's research leverage draws competition without escalation. Leo 25. After China's Beijing control over REMs and vital to defense and clean energy, China seeks an equal place through the economic power and influence. Comparisons of economic data for military capability are unlikely indication of which side has a head influence depends on ability to attract allies. By maintaining dominance in advanced industry, Beijing will mitigate structural weaknesses. China suffered reversals, yet Beijing maintained trajectory. No other government has gone for tit for tat with tariffs unscathed. Reducing extraction to undercut strategically negotiated checkpoints. Jiang 25. Particularly, Beijing poses export control, granting a reprieve. China's checkpoints are proving durable and heavy rare elements. China doesn't control the full chain. Foundational patents remain held by Japanese firms. Premier factories depend on imported equipment. China depends on Myanmar for half its heavy earth supply. Cut the price of the card. Perceptions and cause diversionary war. AG 25. Leaders perceive a fleeting opportunity may lunge before their window of opportunity closes. Competition is perceptual. Leaders act not on perfect information, but on how they perceive trajectory. In Beijing, delays fatal 2025 white paper makes it explicit. Beijing can gamble that conflicts only offer a way to break through. Compression creates pressures for escalation. Leaders take high risk actions because the downside is already extension cycle. Cut the card there. That's the most probable extinction path. Claire 23. Nuclear power war, we see nukes, bioweapons, and other new tech threatening extinction. The most worrying possibility is the U.S. and China. They spend the most of their militaries and have several characteristics and causes of war. The most obvious issues Taiwan location and industries are available for both this conflict over ideas for defending allies with territorial integrity, past justice, nuke to be used later, humanity things to famine by winter or reducing there's something else would. On case, first of all, we get new responses in the next speech. They have not justified any reason why we shouldn't. And yeah, on the role of the ballot, the role of the ballot and judges none at all to clarify, evaluate every argument made in the debate and compare them to impact calculus. Double blind, either their argument collapses to ours since they need to prove their impact that way, or they exclude offense of text alone, which is infinitely abusive and self-serving. Then a turn, the AF causes military fill in G and 525. Many critical minerals are clustered in developing countries. Major powers jockeying for position. This competition could exacerbate local frailties in Africa. GMCs linked to major powers from Russia fuel conflict. The fixed nature of deposits trigger wars. The immobility of minerals means regions can become highly contested. Delbarton needs to pay attention in history class. Empirics prove the way the U.S. is way worse. TERS 25. U.S. efforts increase terror, Islamist violence, spiked over years of American terrorism. U.S. provided to governments use infusion of U.S. funding, weapons, and training to intensify the cycle of violence. A 97,000% increase. The U.S. carried out attack in Somalia, largest in history because of the tax capabilities spans $200 billion and 15 officers who benefit from U.S. were key leaders in a dozen coups, poured billions of dollars in military assistance, enabling military's Pentagon findings, spotlight shortcomings, determine the U.S. involvement was insufficient for changing the security environment. Do you guys need marked?
It's good.
Actually, no, I want marked.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
I'm marking the doc.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't cut that. The only card I cut in the middle was Zhang.
Yeah.
Okay. Mark descent. Are you good for cross?
Yeah, we're all good. We're all good. Okay. Can I have first question?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to the turn. Oh, wait, let me get my timer. On the turn you just read to our case, how does the U.S. get involved? Like, you literally list an example of what they're doing right now.
Wait, no,
Like-
the GM5 evidence is very specific that right now other countries are not filling into the region because China is so dominant, but post-AF countries like the US get involved because they perceive that there's a vacuum in the region. Can I take a
Wait.
question?
So you're making the claim that the United States is not in Africa right now?
We are not in there significant of
Yes,
an amount.
we are the biggest power in Africa right now.
As significant of an amount in resource extraction as we would if China left. I'll take a question. Let's talk about your arguments about killing a bunch of what was anthropods. Can you explain why this matters under your framework?
I don't want insects to die. Like, I don't want anyone to die. I don't want insects to die either.
Okay,
Just-
that's fine.
Are you guys reading? Do you guys support util?
We'd say that
Do
under
you guys
the
think
ideas
suffering
that
is
you
bad?
have said, under the ideas that you have said of things like animals dying, etc., we think that
It's not an animal.
extinction outweighs because it is the most important impact.
Why?
Because it stops us from being able to deliberate about future ethical constraints or improve the condition that humans live in.
Sure. Okay. On that same thought, is suffering bad then?
Wait, our argument is just that we should stop.
No, I understand. I'm asking a separate argument. I'm asking a completely separate question,
Wait,
unrelated
then
to
I should
this.
get a question first. Let's.
No, you
talk
still haven't
about
answered. Wait, you still haven't answered my question. My question was,
because
is
you
suffering
asked two
bad?
questions, so it's my turn to ask a question after the first question that you asked.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. Let's talk specifically about Tibetan biody. If we
Yeah.
affirm, does China pull out of Tibet?
Yes, they have to. They got to stop dumping and uranium mining. So yeah, it solves our impact. It's not a pullout argument in the it's talking about them stopping uranium dumping and mining in the region.
Okay, sure.
Is suffering bad?
Our what side are we? Meg? Our one
Yeah.
and C takes the specific stance that life is good and we should preserve life.
Sounds good.
Not
All right, you
anything
can have a
else.
question. Okay,
Okay.
preserve life. You can have a question.
Yeah. Let's talk about what you said is the questions of land over settler violence. Given if other countries are going to compete over land, or we're going to be territorial and some people are going to own land no matter what, whether the app happens or not, how do you resolve all disputes over like property?
All right, one, you just asserted there's gonna be future land disputes. There's not gonna be when China gets removed from the land. You just asserted that with
China
no
stopping
evidence.
extraction. Chinese extraction is the only form of land ownership in the world right now.
Not the only form, but any step to solving it's a good thing. I feel like that's just like, yeah, scalar. We'll take running prep. That will start now.
Pausing prep.
45.
Okay, cool. I'll send Doc. Let me know when you get it.
We just got it. Give us a second to download.
What are you starting on?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna start on the their interp.
No, what's the order?
Oh, okay, cool. Their shells, the turn on settler on set call, and then leverage. Good. Cool. Okay. On strategy first. For if we meet, they don't say it's exclusive or, they just say that it's or, which means that we, as long as we give either thing, it's a fine. So it doesn't matter if it's both. And second, we meet. We meet. We have granted both research and consequences as a possible win condition. And third, we didn't violate. We never told them that it has to be both and cross. We only said that we advocate for. We suggest that they try to get as much offense as possible because it makes it more likely that they're going to win. And on the standards, one, there's not a strat skew because one, people read multiple cases all the time, which means that you have to answer both both cases in order to win the round, which means that it's not unique in order for the K. And even then, our K is just two different arguments combined together, which means that it doesn't skew them out of the round. And it doesn't. And on the turns case, it doesn't matter because because they could always read turns if our projects are actually bad, which is what they've done in this round, which means that it does not mean that we just justify bad things. And also, people don't want to waste time justifying bad things, which means that they're already solved back for. And on the extra T stuff, they have not read a link into drop the debater here, and we'd say that you shouldn't drop the debater because there's always going to be different definitions of what the topic is, which means that if you try changing the definition only and dropping people who are not doing extra T, you're just incentivizing people to go to theory arguments instead of actually educating about the topic through substance debate. And also no definition of what extra topical topicality is. They have never read the resolution in this round, so you have no idea no idea whether or not it's actually extra topical. And extraction. They say to turn because the U.S. is already the U.S. is going to be worse. But one, they haven't read a link on why the U.S. is going to fill in at all. And second, we'd say the U.S. is already in the region, and there's no reason why that happens. And third, sure, both actors might be bad, but they haven't read a reason why the U.S. is uniquely worse than China. They just read that the U.S. has historically done things. The U.S. has activist movements domestically, while China had represses all activist movements, which means it's much harder for protests to happen in China to make sure that things don't happen. And the leverage. First, their Liu evidence identifies all the other factors that keep China leverage even absent Rams. Go look at the 1 point font text. One see Liu Delbarton reads the blue. In May, China stopped buying U.S. soybeans, the largest U.S. export to China, and China's global power is founded on its immense population. Descent built on the backs of China easily exploited migrant laborers, 300 million in 2024. Hold stakes in more than 100 overseas port projects. And the second litany other problems with the Chang evidence. A, it's like the Tucker Carlson show and has no highlighted warrant as to why China being a trade surplus country means they cannot survive tariffs. And B, it's from April, and they threatened a 115% tariff, and Trump never went through with. New evidence finds tariffs are much lower. Honeycutt 25. Trump said tariffs on Chinese imports would cut from 47% to 57%. And C, it doesn't count for other forms of leverage. Third, their Zhang evidence proves the argument is non-topical. I know they didn't read it, but I'm still inserting it here. While heavy REMs do give China the leverage they imported from Myanmar, not extracted, and China depends on Myanmar for half its rare earth supply. Cutting this would force Beijing into accept a severe disruption. But 25, Myanmar accounted for 57% of total rare earth imports last year. Myanmar strengthened China's leverage. Imports are an extraction. Bridge 17. Resource extraction refers to removal of natural resource from immediate context, widely interpreted as a physical process. And then, I am going to go back onto the roll of the ballot. We don't have to win any roll of the ballot insofar as they have not responded to any of the topical parts of our argument where China being in the region is bad for Tibetans because it causes genocide, and it's also bad for the insects because the insects are able to suffer, don't let them read new responses in second rebuttal because they've already read responses in first constructive, and otherwise it would strap us out of the round because we'd have to front light twice while they only have to read responses once. Anything else?
Actually, no. Read more stuff on the roll the ballot.
Okay, cool. Wait, what?
Actually, no.
Okay, on ballot. On ballot solvency first. Even if you double down, it's harder to win things that you know not to be true, and because there's fewer warrants that you can actually give for them because it's not a true argument. And second, the neuroscience argument doesn't say anything about debate specifically; it just is talking about politics and people saying that people knowing stuff is can have causes, but that doesn't have any impact.
Okay, we'll run prep starting now.
Turn your volume up a little bit so I can hear. I think that's fine. Good. I don't think the shells were just a waste of time to read. They literally can't even get offense off them. We didn't even violate the one.
You're unmuted.
Here.
Okay, that was 25 seconds, so we've taken 1 minute and 5 total.
Okay, there's a few cards that I'm gonna send out right now. Is it fine if it's just in the body of the email, or do you want a doc? Okay. Okay, it's sent. Order is the first shell, topicality. It's the first shell, topicality, the leverage disad, the turn on case. Yeah. It's just the Austin order and then the turns on case. Let me know when everyone gets the doc.
I just got it.
No, it's 2.
Okay. Good. Cool. The first shell, we're not going for it. There was not an RVI made, so there's not an offensive reason why it's bad. Now, topicality, there's only 2 answers here, and both of these are terrible. The first argument they make is that there's no link to drop the debate, but they've dropped that fairness is reverse causally solved by the ballot, i.e. when you vote against an unfair argument that prevents it from influencing the round. This was explicit in the 1NC, and they just didn't answer it, so you know that the ballot can reverse causally solve unfairness, but they have not given a reason as to why voting affirmative necessarily does anything or why your ballot specifically is key to anything too. They say there's no definition of what extra topicality is. Obviously, they fiat decolonization. The topic is that the People's Republic of China should reduce its international extraction of natural resources. If you look in the doc, they say that they defend a research project of decolonization. The argument that they made on the first shell proves our argument. They said that they can read multiple positions of advocacy, and their model is unfair because it forces us to defend things beyond the resolution. For example, the research project, which obviously is not predictable because it is not tied in the resolution, and further, because it is not tied in the resolution, but just in case, resolve requires a legislative instrument. LSA 5, legislative instrument uses the term resolved. I'll send this card after. Okay. Now, a couple of arguments on T that I will extend here. The first is testing. They have dropped that because they are unpredictable, we couldn't test any of their impacts, meaning that you should presume the entire 1AC false. This was no new answers in summary because it was completely conceded. 2 is the fairness paradox. Unpredictability causes unfairness, which is an impact in and of itself. They've dropped that both sides think fairness is an intrinsic good. That's why they spread, selectively highlight cards, and point out technical concessions, and it is paradoxical to reject fairness. In order to make arguments that education outweighs fairness already requires you as the judge to fairly evaluate the argument, proving that fairness must come prior to all of it. 2, they've also dropped clash. Only a predictable testing ground can allow us to debate about what the best way to implement the affirmative and decolonization and all of the research projects are, meaning that only our interpretation solves their impacts in the real world. Now, the dissad. The first argument they make is that there are other reasons why the U.S. Why China has leverage, but that doesn't matter. They haven't delineated any of them. And our argument says that rare earth minerals are historically key, as proven in the tariff negotiations. The second argument they read, then they indict Chang. We didn't read Chang. Get off the dock. Also, our argument is not about tariffs. It's about leverage and power overall on the world stage. So even if tariffs go away, it doesn't matter because it still proves that China has leverage. Then they say no link, but global operations are impossible with Ying 25. China's a monopoly in extraction 60% of global mining. China's strategy resonated with global South partners. BRI is a vehicle of influence. China's interested in imported rare earth feedstock. About 1/3 of finished products. Countries depend heavily on Chinese inputs, including mining chemicals. Without supplies, this would be really difficult. Look, this will be really difficult. They're probably going to go for animal wipeout in the back half. So preemptive here. The only warrant that they've given in the front half is that it kills animals, but obviously extinction kills all animals. It releases bioweapons, becomes radiation, etc., which would all be detrimental to every single animal on Earth, which definitely outweighs their offense. And you should reject new impact cards in the back half because that skews time. Now, the case. Okay, the case turn. The first argument they make is that there's no link as to why the U.S. would fill into the region, but our argument is that since there's more minerals to be mined in the region, the U.S. would fill in. Then they say that the U.S. is historically that we've read no evidence that the U.S. is worse, but our evidence says that the U.S. caused a 97,000% increase in terrorism. Obviously, they cannot quantify how bad China is, and the fact that they're causing thousands of deaths means that they probably are worse. Then, regardless, withdraw these unstable power vacuums. Amakali 25. Rival power hasten to claim resources with full competitors could scramble out assert control over territories. Superpowers endeavor to expand influences, involve conflicts to prevent the opposing bloc from advantages. Gulf states expand regional activities in the Horn of Africa. Back and Billy involves competing actors, creating unstable dynamics. Initiatives trigger security dilemmas and escalate when one power moves. Other actors interpret this as threatening, pumping countermeasures. This can lead to tensions and direct confrontation. And if they are really correct that animal suffering outweighs, then more countries in the region cause more people to die. So that is more animals to die. So that is obviously worse. Now, the case. The framing issue for this debate, actually, no, back to topicality. Read it and lose solves all of their offense. They should have read our interpretation. It's that we don't need to rejoin extra topical affirmatives. That means that all of their education warrants don't matter. There's no reason why voting affirmative necessarily is key to creating the education. They've already read their AF, meaning that you can acknowledge that the AF is a good idea, but vote negative since it just means that fairness reverse causally solves our impact. Look, all of the case turns are kill. Topicality is kill because they span blippy, terrible we meets. Obviously, you're voting net. You're muted.
Okay.
We can keep it after.
Good for calls.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Can I have first question?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about this extra T stuff.
Yeah.
So,
oh wait, do you want me to send the resolve definition or no?
I already sent it.
I think Alice.
Okay, never mind. It's already there. Yeah.
Okay. So, what counts as extra T?
Anything that goes beyond purely proving why the resolution is a good idea, i.e., defending a research project of decolonization.
Wait, hold on. But like we literally said in rebuttal that fine, we'll agree we're not going to defend the research project of decolonization, and like that just went unanswered.
Wait, but you read it in the 1AC, which created a skew because we were
Correct.
forced to answer it. So the only way to resolve the skew is by voting net.
Yeah. It went conceded in rebuttal. We'll just like drop that so there's not
Wait, it's not a question of drop that because our 1NC was predicated on your research project argument.
No, your interp is not that your interp does not say anything that the AF has to
spirit over
it says that
text,
the neg need not rejoinder. We agree. You do not need to rejoinder it.
Wait,
therefore,
this is like nitpicky with the text of the argument, but this is nitpicky with
I
the
don't
text
care.
of the
Like
interp. But
nobody's
obviously
read any
our
over
argument.
text
Wait,
for it.
okay. Explain to me why the text of the interp precludes the argument that you were unfair by skewing on 1NC and that the ballot solves that.
Because the way that theory works.
Why does the interp? Wait, no. Why does the interp matter if we are winning a violation and we are winning a reason you should?
It's the same way case works, right? You can read me a bunch of impacts that nuclear war is bad, but if you never have a link into nuclear war,
wait, but we do have a link. We prove you were unfair, and we prove that you skewed on 1NC.
You haven't said anything that I've done. You've said that I've violated your interp, which is unfair, but I am contesting that I never violated your interp.
Wait, I said that you were extra topical in the 1AC, which created an irrecoverable skew.
No, you said that extra topical arguments are bad. You also said that
because they create a time skew and only the ballot can solve that.
What? Can I finish?
Yeah, okay. Sure.
You said extra topical arguments are bad. You also said that the negative need not answer extra topical arguments.
These are two distinct arguments.
You decided.
Wait, these are two distinct arguments.
Extra topical arguments. Okay, that is your fault for answering it.
No, because these are two separate arguments. One is that extra topicality is bad. And the second is that if you continue to extend extra T arguments, then we do not need to rejoin it because read it and lose would solve our offense. Obviously, there's an independent reason why we should lose, which is just that you were unfair by forcing us to skew the 1NC strategy based on an extra T argument. Also, if we don't answer it, then you'll just be like extra T.
Whoever wrote your shell realizes that because you don't have drop the debater off of the shell.
Wait, no, because fairness and reverse colors is solved by ballot, which was dropped.
No.
We don't need to drop the debater argument because we're winning a reason why the ballot and voting for us in this debate is sufficient.
We are arguing that we don't violate your interp. You can have a question.
It doesn't matter if you don't violate our interp. If we are winning an independent reason, you're unfair. But sure, I'll take a question. Let's talk about let's talk about the stupid animal stuff. Why do arthropods matter?
We think that everybody matters, and we should not exclude any group of sentient.
Wait, but arthropods, I'm pretty sure that a fly, can't really even feel pain.
I'm pretty sure that speciesist. You can, actually, that's
which arthropods die.
Okay, arthropods are a group of are like a clade. That's just spiders.
Sure, that's fine. That's spiders. Okay.
We'll take running prep. That will start now. Okay. That was 140, 5, 220, 35 left. Order will be the T stuff, our case weighing their case. I sent one card in the email chain.
We got it.
Okay. Wait, did you guys say you got it?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. That's the case. Wait, we'll take a little bit more prep. One sec, sorry. $20 left now? Yeah. Order's the same. On the cheat sheet, or one argument is that there never was a shell violation. Any argument was reconciling the past and strat skews us because we responded to the argument assuming they made a good faith attempt at representing what they wanted us to do. The text come before the spirit. One, race to the top. People read. More precise interpretation make debate. Outcomes more fair since less invention. Two, spirits arbitrary. No way to evaluate. Three, schools would defund space if people start advocating for spirits because they associate with alcohol, which is a bad thing. It's not something separate. Nowhere did we violate extra topicality specifically. One, there was never a definition read in the first place. Second, the research project stuff was just a tagline, not the actual argument we were being made. You can put like non-topical in your case, and that doesn't mean you're defending a non-topical advocacy necessarily. And also cross-check back. I never said that we were defending something not directly tied to the resolution, which also checks back. All of this stuff was just dropped. Also, there's no reason they specifically have a drop the debate or warn on it. There's asserting that fairness means that you drop us. No, fairness doesn't make any sense because people read different arguments every single round. That doesn't mean you should just drop them because of that. And also the unfairness thing, you shouldn't evaluate it.
No
Didn't
difference
drop
between
you
us
debate
reading an extra topical argument and Montpellier breaking it
Yeah,
up by
you
500
can read
people.
8 like different arguments and read one non-topical and one topical one. It's functioning the same thing, and then do the analysis why that's different. Then on case proper. We're extending just neoliberalism, generally speaking. China's foreign extraction markets have formed neoliberalism into racialized economies that expensive different types of people. One, it hurts us because China's invasive acts result in deforestation, destroying ecosystem, contributing to carbon emissions overall. Deforestation also kills quadrillions of anthropologists, which habitat disruption. And that also climate change causes extinction through resource wars in the future by 2050. The next argument going for biodeal in Tibet is specifically existentialist hotspots, imperative extinction species, and an extinction because loss of one species caused runaway extinction, which cascades. All of these arguments were conceded, meaning they're 100% probability on the weighing debate. One, we'll go for the probability analysis. We're the only ones with 100% probability because these are all conceded arguments, meaning should be prioritizing the probability. Even if we have one bad response on their case, it's still better than having our case because it's completely dropped versus having one bad response. Second, we have the best time frame. It happens. It's happening right now. It's happening right now. So it's happening right now. So you have to affirm to stop it. If you don't, we're functionally locked into extinction because we're not making any change. The next analysis we can go for is that we're going to go for the animal suffering, meaning we outweigh magnitude. It's in the email chain. Insects suffer up to 20% intensity. Humans, fish 23 finds that welfare estimates that based on probability and sending a subject experience that forms such strategy, making the possible assumption evolutionary function, identifying empirical traits, related to review indicators, complexity and effective richness, results, several modest 70% chance that more relevant differences. At that point, that means that if they're suffering 20%, there's 4 quadrillion affected. That means we're affecting significantly more people than them, which means there's more suffering overall. We're not going for wipeout. We're just going that for suffering in general means it's a bad thing. We should stop the most amount of things from suffering in the first place, which includes insects, which them in first cross just said we should stop suffering to whole, so this still, even under their framework, should still apply on their case proper. The first thing we'll be extending is the drop response that their evidence was talking about imports, so it's not topical. This was cold conceded the last speech, means you cannot evaluate their impact, and it's talking about imports in the States. The second thing we're going to go for is that there's other reasons to get leverage. An example of this, which they say it doesn't give specific example. No, we literally gave the example of soybeans. The United States now provides them soybeans, but they still have leverage in other areas, which is proven by this, which was dropped in the last speech, which means that there's no difference in the affirmative world. They still have some leverage, which has been proven in scenarios that have been happening right now.
Don't drop us.
And on the theory side, I already said it. Don't drop us. They can't just cross apply it, and they never read in the first place.
Okay. We're running prep starting now. Okay, 128. So I think we have 27 seconds left.
Yeah.
It's extra T, our case weighing their case. I look frozen on my end.
Wait,
but-
can y'all hear us?
I can
Okay.
hear,
Our
but you
video's
are
frozen.
frozen.
Wait.
Your camera's frozen, but we can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Is that
Okay.
better?
I don't think the camera mattered much anyway, but
Yeah.
it's okay. Just again, it's extra T case weighing their case. Is anybody not ready? Cool. First, the Spears voter on extra T that's obviously not the same kind. No RBIs read, so we can kick this, and there's no weighing done on this. They will concede that they are topical. That means that they link to the dissat. If they say they don't, then it's lying RBI, which is unfair, which Leon will get to make a new response to final focus on case. China's red monopoly gives them leverage on the world stage to influence events through export controls. However, China mines most rare earth minerals abroad, so affirming cuts off the source of their power. That makes them a peaking power, and the perception that Xi loses legitimacy causes him to engage in a diversionary war over Taiwan. Nukes are used to win the war or keep the U.S. out, which escalates to tensions and miscalculation and causes extinction through famine. On their responses, first, they say our evidence is about imports, but they have dropped the Ying evidence that Leon read in the last speech that it says that absent China giving other countries the capability to extract is impossible. It's not imports because China is literally the one helping them mine, which means that they are the ones doing the extraction. Conceded out of the last speech, which means there's no risk of this response. Next, they say that there are other reasons for leverage, but REMs are crucial because the soybean stuff was literally only for the US. China still needs leverage over other countries, and they have dropped that historically REMs has been the most key. Even if you think that soybeans matter, that doesn't matter because China doesn't think that they matter, given that their whole economy has been built on the foundation of rare earth minerals in the first place. Wayne. First is time frame. It was carded in case. AG says perception alone causes China to lash out since Xi wants to attack before the public, and elites figure out that he lost leverage. Prefer carded time frame since it's expert analysis over their high school weighing. Escalation is uniquely fast since China nukes the US while invading to ensure that they don't get drawn in. Time frame first. Intervening actors and value to life mean that you should always preserve us to live as long as possible. Their warming arguments don't matter because it doesn't happen until 2050 by their own admission. There's also no link ever read that deforestation causes warming, so you're probably not buying this impact scenario. On animal suffering, they've completely dropped that nukes would also cause massive radiation and literally explode all insects on Earth, which always on scope because not only does it kill all the arthropods that they talk about, it also kills all the other animal like deer or something. Yeah. Do I need to? Is there any more way?
Probability doesn't matter.
Oh, their probability weighing doesn't matter because their own explanation of the probability weighing is literally as a function of link defense. So that means you can just evaluate it on the link level when you get there. Also, they say that the time frame of their arguments is now, but that doesn't make any sense because the solvency doesn't take very long, and is that fine?
Extinction impact.
Oh, and the extinction impact isn't now. Okay, their case. First, we're going for the straight turn. They've dropped the Al-Makadi evidence, and that it turns all of their impacts. It means that more countries spill into every single place that China draws out of, killing more animals because there are more countries fighting in the region. This also causes more warming because now there are so many more countries extracting in the region. You cannot let them get away with saying, oh, they didn't answer case when they've completely dropped the straight turn in the last speech. They want to go in to get every resources so the countries fill in as quickly as possible. This was dropped. Raymond will inevitably cross-apply an argument and final focus, but if you can't draw a line from summary from the argument from summary to final focus, you should cross it off your flow. It also takes out their case. First, it's time frame. Countries go in as fast as possible to secure resource interests. Great powers attack each other quickly because there are first mover advantages. Second is it turns case. The link alone takes out all app solvency because if China doesn't extract resources, others do, which means that either way, all of their impacts trigger. So the only risk of you being able to solve anything is the neg by stopping leverage.
Offense.
Okay, can I have first question?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you read me a line from any piece of evidence that says the U.S. going in causes war, climate change, any of the stuff you just mentioned?
We didn't go for an argument about war, just that it turns your impacts. It's not just
Wait,
the US,
Alice just said that if all these countries go in, there's going to be a massive war, and they're going to be doing all the climate stuff. But there's no evidence for any of this. You just asserted this. It's brand new.
Two things. One, it has been implicated the entire round as a reason that other countries will go in and do the same thing.
I agree.
As doing the same things that China is doing now because
that's
they
not what you
also
said.
want the resources,
No,
which means
wait.
either
Our
way,
argument's
they're
not about
going to cause the same impact.
Wait, our argument's complete. It's about the specific techniques China uses. That's why the turn's not responsive. It's responsive to the colonization.
Other countries will obviously use those techniques if it's cheap.
No,
But second of all, the war argument. The war argument says
our deforestation argument is like
other actors interpret this as threatening, prompting countermeasures. This can lead to tensions and direct confrontation.
Okay, one, you didn't read any war impact off that.
What? Okay, well, sure, that's fine.
You just asserted. So wait, so war is not going to happen off it. Just making sure.
No, it causes instability, which turns your case.
How? It doesn't
Because
turn.
instability kills animals and also means
No, you're just
okay.
We're going from like powers go in, which by the way they're already there, so it's not unique to begin with.
No,
but,
because they fill in even more.
And that response was not extended in the last speech.
Yeah, the argument's defensive to colonization. I'm not responding to something that has nothing to do with the climate argument we are going for, where you've read zero evidence.
Because
it can't even wait. It doesn't even pass. Wait, it doesn't even pass the command F test. It never talks about deforestation. It never talks about nuclear dumping. It never talks about uranium mining. None of this is talked about.
Read me a line in your evidence that explains why China's resource extraction is unique.
Yes, I'll do that right now. Actually,
yeah, pull it up.
Yeah, pulling up right now. So let's go to the dumping scenario. So this is very specific to Taiwan. They are intentionally dumping nuclear waste while uranium mining. That's one. It's an intentional method. Very specific to China. No other. You have to read carded evidence saying other countries are intentionally dumping nuclear waste. That's not something you can assert.
They're not doing it now because they're not in the region, but post-app, they go into the region and they would do the exact same thing.
This is not about Africa. Wait, you're talking about Africa. This isn't about
Africa. It applies
Africa.
to every single one of your arguments because there are resources in Tibet.
It's not true at all. Your evidence about your evidence about Africa. Two, it's not.
The warrant applies to your case, so I'm not sure why that matters.
No, it does not. This is talking
about. Explain why the warrant doesn't apply to your case.
Because it's very specific to Tibet, which has ties to China, which is why they're going to the region now. It's very specific to China. No other countries entered Tibet.
You're in a double bind. Either Tibet is part of China, which means that China would not have to reduce extraction there, or Tibet is not part of China, which means that other countries would have a license to go there and do the exact same things because they know that that is the easiest way for them to get resources, and there are resources there. That's
the language. Where is it? Okay. We have 25 left. Don't read it. We have 25 left. That will start.
Tibet, their case. Everybody good? Let me just get my phone in order.
Need extension.
Yeah, actually, yeah, sure. Give it to me. Okay, cool.
Some stuff.
Can everybody hear me from here? Cool. Extend Tibet. China's foreign extraction marks a form of neo-imperialism through racialized economics at the expense of African people, and it's catastrophic. Tibet proves China's extraction dump harmful toxins intentionally exposing Tibetans to waste. Its genocide nuclear dumping results in the eradication of ethnic Tibetans, and China's invasive acts result in deforestation, destroying native ecosystems and contributing to carbon emissions. Deforestation destroys quadrillions of arthropods through habitat disruption. Climate change causes extinction of resource wars. Biodiversity in Tibet is existential, and in Africa, hotspots imperative with the distinctive species being most important on Earth, and extinction loss of one species causes runaways and cascades. And they make they're going to go for this argument that Tibet is part of China. It does not matter. They could have disputed this way earlier in the round. If you think that Tibet is, it doesn't matter what you think if Tibet is part of China, insofar as we've asserted that for so many speeches, and they have not made an argument against it. And they say that there are going to be more countries in the region, which is bad. They've conceded that China's extraction techniques are uniquely bad because China does not have like the domestic activism and stuff to prevent it. And they've also conceded that they've also
nuclear dumping.
Oh yeah, they've also conceded that China specifically is the one doing nuclear dumping. And they say that other countries are going to go in. If other countries were able to go in, they would have gone in already. But the fact that they haven't indicates that they don't want to, which means that China pulling out means one less power in the region. And they say that nuclear war is going to lead to arthropods dying too. This is just not carded at all. They just assert that radiation is going to cause them to die. But you can't even find evidence saying that radiation alone is enough to kill humans, which means that it is not. Which means that it should not be enough to kill arthropods. And they have conceded that we have the best time frame because the moment that you affirm, you are able to pull China away from killing all these arthropods and causing deforestation every single day. Which while the affirmative the time frame from the negative is necessarily a question of how long it takes Xi to notice and how long it takes for him to lash out. They say that it's perceptual, no reason about how long this perception takes. And our probability weighting is just like completely conceded. Because they did not read any link level defense to our argument. It means that our argument is by default 100% probable. But there's some reason that their argument isn't going to happen. And leverage. They have conceded that there's going to be other forms of leverage like soybeans. They just say that the U.S. it's only for the U.S. One, their evidence is like their impact scenario is all contextual to the U.S. and it's nothing about whether or not China perceives soybeans as not enough leverage. We'd say that REMs are only one part of China's strategy. Can you tell Dan? Oh wait.
Okay, we're gonna run our remaining 27 seconds starting now.
The order is Wang, our case, and then their case. Okay. Is everyone good?
Wait, Henry and Gavin are
Wait, Henry, Gavin, are y'all here?
Okay. Wait, yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. Everyone good? Oh, I'm frozen again. I don't think that matters. Okay, cool. On the Wang debate, they have conceded that our argument is fully perceptual. AG says perception alone causes China to lash out since she wants to attack before the public and elites figure out that he lost leverage. For her carded time frame, because it's uniquely fast and China nukes the US. Wait, sorry, pause, because I knocked over the mic and I don't know if you guys can hear me. Okay. Can I restart? Because I like knocked over the mic. Okay. Henry, is that fine with you?
Well,
okay, cool. Okay. On Wang, they have conceded all of our time frame analysis. It was carded in case. AG says perception alone causes China to lash out since she wants to attack before the public and elites figure out that he lost leverage. Prefer carded time frame since the extra analysis over their high school Wang. They've also dropped the escalation is uniquely fast and China nukes the US while invading to ensure they don't get drawn in. Their only answer is that we don't know when the perception triggers, but our AG evidence literally says, quote, delays are existential, so it's immediately, and it is carded. They say that their argument is happening now and that solvency is immediate. That's fantastic. Just because solvency is immediate doesn't mean your impact is immediate because the impact triggers in 2050. That's their own Spectre impact card, which says that warming only causes extinction by 2050, so it obviously takes longer. They've dropped the time frame weighing. Intervening actors should be on the top of your RFD because it proves that they can always solve for their impacts in the future, meaning that all of their impacts matter inherently less. Then they say that their argument outweighs on probability. They've just dropped that it's a function of link defense, meaning if you conclude we win our case, we win the round. Then they say that it's not carded that that animals die, but obviously Claire says radiation kills humans. Humans are biologically similar to animals, so it is sufficient, and it's also a new response to this argument, so they don't get it. Our case. China's REM monopoly gives them leverage on the one-station influence events through export controls. However, China mines both. Most rare in the middles are broad, so affirming cuts off the source of power. That makes them a peaking power, and the perception that she loses legitimacy causes him to engage in a diversionary war over Taiwan. Nukes are used to win the war or keep the US out, which escalates due to tension and miscalculation and causes extinction through RAM. And the only answer is through ink, and it's just a soybeans argument. But one, they have dropped the front line from both summary and rebuttal that the reason that the US bought soybeans is because China used REMs to force them to do so, which is what our Liu evidence says. And two, REMs also matter more. This was also in both rebuttal and summary. It's the foundation of China's economy, and she obviously cares more about that than soybeans, meaning that post-after he is forced to go to war. Their case. We will go for the argument that other actors fill in. Their only answer to the other actors fill in, which inevitably triggers their impacts. The first answer they make is that they would have gone in already, but obviously if China owns all the resources there, there's no incentive for them to do so. The second argument they make is that China's the only one doing dumping. That's because they're the only actor in the region. If it's profitable to get nuclear energy, which is a reason why China is the one doing so, then other actors will obviously do so. Other countries will go in mining in the region, which triggers their impact. This was dropped, so obviously their new response in first final don't matter.
You're on, guys.
Round.
What's up, Henry?